talk about a very critical and delicate issue as fire management in Sardinia is. For those that don't know me, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm, as you said, I'm Giuseppe Delogu, head of Corpo Forestale of the province of South Sardinia, in Cagliari. As you know, we as Corpo Forestale, we are dealing with many different fields, many tasks, such as environmental policy, garbage pollution, city planning, and so on, forest management, hunting and fishing, last but not least, wildfire, as you know. First of all, I have to say that what I'm going to tell us is only my personal opinion based on my large experience, almost 35 years in fighting wildfires. And this opinion does not involve in any way my organization, the Forest Corp and the regional administration. So I consider this webinar as a free opportunity to explain some problems, some issues, some troubles that we have any day in every wildfire we find. So I will talk about what I summarized in this slide. What is Corpo Forestale di Vigilanza Ambientale? What is the national and regional civil protection system? What are the regional and national framework of laws about wildfires? Definition, legal definition of wildfire is very interesting. What is in Italy the definition of wildfires? And how this law find application at a regional level. So I will talk about regional and municipality planning to prevent wildfires. And particularly, I will speak about specific rules for wildfire prevention. Every year, the regional government give to the population some mandatory indication about how to prevent wildfires, also using correctly the fire, also using correctly special machinery in agriculture, how to protect the residents, and so on. But I will talk also about what are the problems, what are the gaps between the planning and strategic and tactic operation in wildfire. Particularly, I will talk about what I consider the more important gap existing in the system of planification. I mean, the fault of a local landscape level of detailed planification. What is consequence is that lacking this important level of planification, there is a very difficult lack of preventive silviculture to counteract the land abandonment. Also, I will try to speak about what I think is an overlapping about the Augustus model of civil protection versus incident command system, that it necessarily will need to be the typical procedure in operation in field. And also I will speak, I will take some examples of the collapse of extinction system, particularly the simultaneity of great wildfires. So, what is Corpo Forestale? Corpo Forestale was founded in the 18th century, and since the first years of 19th century have the responsibility to coordinate rural wildfires. But I say that almost from 1975, when the first Italian law against wildfires was approved by the parliament. We, as Corpo Forestale, have also today this responsibility to coordinate and manage the wildfire fighting due to a new recent regional law, number 8 of the month of April. Who are people of Corpo Forestale? We are, in synthesis, we are technical and judicial police, people that have technical and judicial police functions. 1,450 people in the whole island, distributed in 80 forest stations, and to manage firefighting, we have every summer 11 summer bases for helicopters, and then also we have 10 naval bases for other activities in environmental control. What we are every day of summer. Normally in all Sardinia we have almost 100 patrols on the field every day during summer. And every patrol are able to perform the function of Director of Extinction Operation. In Italy, the acronym in Italian is DOS function. Recently we have some innovative changes derived from the great experience in the international project called Fire Paradox, where we were as operative partner, and we changed many experience with the Portuguese people and mainly with the Catalan graph. And so we organized in the last year 7 Gulf units in Sardo. We call him Masters Delogu, Masters of Fire, that are able to do the fire analysis in the field and use tactically suppression fire, but also they are trained using prescribed burning in all the year. The Gulf units are an important asset in great wildfires, mainly to operate as second speed on fire attack. It's a group, an important group. It's an innovative group in Sardinia. I think the only one in Italy, and so we are very proud to present this level of organization to you. What is the general structure in the activity in wildfire fighting? Is the same in all Italy. At national level, there is the Center of Aerial Operation Unified Command that coordinates normally the float of aerial firefighting. I mean Canada, I mean Sikorsky, I mean AB 412 and so on of the state. And regional level, there is a coordination in Cagliari that manages the Sala Operativa Unificata Permanente. That coordinate 7 provincial levels that are called COP, Center Operative Provincial. And also every COP coordinate the firefighting at the local level, I mean at the level of a forest station that we called them WUIWATCH, Unità Operativa di Comparto. And finally, in every incident, in every situation where there is a wildfire, we have an official that is a person that is operating as director and coordinator local of the incident, that are called Director of Operation of Extinction, DOS. I will specify that only the 3 low levels, COP, WUIWATCH, and DOS, are the operative incident structure. This is a slide where we could see what is the Sala Operativa Regionale. Another important task we have, starting from last year, every wildfire is managed with a database that we call Fire Cloud. Every information about every single incident is reported in a regional page that where we could charge every information about the behavior of fire, what are people involved in firefighting, and so on. This is the scenario regionale, regional scenario. At the left, at the right side, we can see every territory where operate every operative provincial center. But at the left, we could see the division, local division that represent the forestation. And so on. We have 11 heli bases with 4 or 5 unit crew to manage air attack and support judiciary investigation with documentation from the high position, support analysis to the director, support incident command. But the regional system of firefighting is more great because it's involved also another agency, regional agency that we called Forestas. In this image, you can see every little man. It represents a crew operating in the same zone. Also, we have many organizations of volunteers that are different from the volunteers that you know, for example, in Spain or in other regions. Are people that it's called voluntary because they are not paid to extinguish the fire, but have some aids from a regional administration in order to achieve new machinery, to have some AP, some protection for individual dispositive for individual protection and so on. But we have also another kind of terrestrial structure that are called barracelli. Barracelli are an ancient rural organization. I think the name is derived from the medieval Italian bargello, or probably is Catalan from origin, and it identifies a kind of rural police, private rural police, called to control the property, to protect the owners. And starting from some years, they are applied to the fighting wildfires. Also, there is the state participation in the system that is constituted mainly from the state firefighters. In Italy, we call them Vigili del Fuoco. And they have a convention every year with a regional administration to improve their bases and their people operating in this task. The state contributes also to the firefighting with a national base of Canadair in Olbia in North Sardinia. But normally Canadair are here logistically, but if is needed, they go to other regions. So this is only virtually this position of 3 Canadair in Sardinia. Normally are 1 or 2, only in days with a great situation we have a great number of Canadair. And now we have to speak about what is definition of forest wildfire, because it is interesting to observe that the forest wildfire is not forest wildfire, because if you read definition, you could see immediately that definition include possible urbanized structures in this area. So every wildfire that potentially can grow in territory not only forested with bushes or with trees, but also in cultivated or grazed soils or fallows near these areas, every wildfire is potentially a civil protection issue. Every fire, I mean, can be able to be potentially involve urbanized structures. This explains why the regional and national system is a complex into the main civil protection system. But what is the civil protection system? The civil protection system is based on a non-structural organization of the emergency intervention. I mean, civil protection is not applied to create prevention of critical situation. Civil protection is not applied to manage fuels, to manage fire. Simply is a structure that is organized only in the sense of the emergency. I will explain some other things. What is the method applied from the national civil protection? It is called Augustus method. The name derived from the idea attributed to the Emperor Augustus, Octavian Augustus, that the value of planning is reduced in proportion of the complexity of the state of things. I mean, when things are hard, every planned situation is going to fail. this is a strange concept that have the consequence of concrete organization in emergency. In emergency, we have the support functions. Each function is made up of representative from the units that cooperate. For example, the police to control the car circulation, also other owner and managers of railroads or so on. Every time a single aspect is involved, then another function is called. But the support functions are activated in emergencies in a flexible way, say the website of civil protection, in relation to possible requirement based on emergency planning. But this happened 1 minute after the incident, not 1 minute before. This is what critically causes some troubles with the operative situation in the field. So what happens when a wildfire involving an urban wildland interface? Operative field forces directly goes to extinguish the or manage the fire, informing the operative regional center, and this Sala Operativa Regionale activates emergency local system only for rescue, not extinction. So we have two languages. In extinction, normally it's applied a primitive incident command system. Is a thing that is not really and strongly organized, but we are starting to utilize incident command system. But emergency local system uses Augustus. The two languages have not ever communication. And this is first trouble in our activity. Another thing in a civil protection system is that they base your activity in prevision with a group called Centro Funzionale that every day prepare this bulletin, this sheet of information to determine what are the areas at risk or not. And today is the first day where Functional Center used the new document in prevision of wildfire risk, using a division in 26 zones in Sardinia. Until yesterday, they used the document that you see in the left, based on provincial division. Now we have 26 areas where I think the prevision of risk will be more detailed. Who is responsible to planning? The regional law attributes to the civil protection the responsibility of regional planning. Also, the civil protection gives to local communities as municipality the guidelines for local rescue planning. But normally all are planning for only rescue, not for prevention and not for extinction of wildfire, only for rescue and support to the eventually population damaged or attacked by the fire. There is only a intermediate level, that is the provincial planification, that is assigned to the Corpo Forestale. But in this slide you can see that I highlighted there are methodological weakness, because it's a plan where is presented only the organization of fighting. Is not allowed some analysis, general analysis and local analysis. And this is a weakness very important. This is some elaboration of the regional plan, indicating the danger, vulnerability, potential damage, and also the risk. Those are some other maps representing the last 5 years of wildfires. In the left, the point of starting the fires, and at the right, the major wildfires in the last 5 years. As you can see, the major part of wildfires are in my territory, so I'm involved very, very strongly in this task. Talking about interface, we can see how the problem is identified at a regional level in this map. There are many areas indicated by the arrows, where in the past we had many deaths, particularly in great wildfires in 1989 and 1991, where almost 20 people are dead when escaping from sparse touristic settlement. This is why the Canada are in the northeast of Sardinia, because there are many troubles when a wildfire starts in those territories. A new change in the law is determined by the new provision about rules to prevent interface situation during wildfires. There are also not only are the provision how urbanization exposed to risk of interface have to define the width of a fuel break, how to manage fuels in peripheric areas or in urban tissue, or how to protect touristic and resident urbanization, included agritourism. But also there are some sanction where this prescription are violated. As consequence of the regional planification, there is the municipality planning at local level. But as you can see in the Sardinia at left, many local administration haven't presented any kind of planning. Also in areas that are defined a high risk, as in the southwest of Sardinia. But this is the main problem. What is the kind of a plan, a local planning? Due to the indication of the guidelines given from the civil protection, national and regional, they identify us in this example what are the exposed to the risk of interface. But you can see in this situation only a buffer external of urbanization is defined as at risk. But if you see from Google Earth, you can see how all the urbanization is totally involved in a strong interface risk. And so the consequences are that this is the line that define what are people involved in interface, not the other. And some strange thing is that they have decided to identify some areas of security into the area that are totally at risk. This is strange. And so things are different. Different from what are planned. And this is an example, an image of the great wildfires of the 2013. Oh, sorry, I have to. Sorry, just a moment. As you can see, the wildfire was totally interesting the entire community of Villaggio delle Mimose. By courtesy of Christophe Bouillon, I think he is present in this webinar. Christophe Bouillon presented a detailed description of this situation in the international conference in Alghero last year, and he classified totally what are the situation of problems of interface. As you know, is not only the buffer zone interested to the interface, but is all the houses that have some troubles and problems. In red is depicted the surface burned in that wildfire, and I can show you how intense was the wildfire that we are studying. A typical convective column, a convective wildfire with the wind from southeast, and so this was a very terrible situation. After 3 years from the incident, do the situation change? These are some photos taken yesterday in the same situation where we had the wildfire that I showed you before. Situation is not changed for nothing, and so we can expect the repetition of other great dangerous situation. Things are the same in all Italy. Some days ago, we had in South Italy, in Sicily, 800 wildfire declared. All the island of Sicily was totally attacked by the fire. So we can see this situation. This is pathological. It's not normal that the Canada fight the fires near a great city as Palermo. And this is another image from the same wildfire in Palermo. Every time the wildfire it starts, then it becomes a WUI problem. This is another situation the last year in Sardinia, where a little wildfire, in order to dimension some 30-35 hectares, but all the camping was totally destroyed by a wildfire started by night. In this situation, people of firefighting had many troubles to act, because it was impossible to operate. It was not a problem of vegetation burning, but many materials, many toxic materials that burnt. What is another trouble that I meet in my experience? Normally, we think that Sardinia increases relating to wildfire only where is the Mistral, but with the analysis of historical wildfires, we know that there are many situations where the hot waves from Sahara are the cause of the biggest wildfire in Sardinia. For example, the 7-8 August of 2013. The wildfires where we are talking about are those indicated in this satellite image, Cagliari Lepori and Laconi. Cagliari Lepori is the first interface zone that I have shown you, and Laconi is the next I will present to you. In this day, 7-8 August, the provision of air humidity were really critical. In this image, you can see a provision for the next day from applying the modern BOLAM of ARPA Sardinia, where air humidity were totally more low than 20%. This was a situation of great dryness, and so this is very critical for wildfires. All the wildfires are developed in this area, exactly where the humidity was more low. I personally measured in 2 wildfires in Villaggio delle Mimose, in Laconi, humidity more low than 15–12%. This is the first image where I call the constitution of the incident command post, because of analyzing this smoke column was clear that we had surely many problems about interface, urban interface. And I declared the constitution of the incident command post here near the industrial polygon, but for motivation that after 3 years I have not again understood, the command post not was opened, because the state firefighters were in other parts to protect a zone that not was in danger. Specifically was collocated in a open air prison to avoid problems in public order, but this was not necessary. And in this image at the left, we can see the total perimeter of the wildfire. if the command post was organized, I think that the wildfire was limited into this area seen here. This is the head of the wildfire after 5 hours from the start. The start was here, and the evolution of wildfire induced by the wind from south was at the 5 p.m. Was here. Here we attacked the head with a great suppression fire with these 2 groups of Gulf, Nuoro, Cagliari that prepare in a typical zone of security an important suppression fire that blocked the spread of wildfire that you can see in the forest of Corpo Forestale. I have to go ahead. This is the last image of the explosion of the suppression fire with the wildfire arriving. But without a very organized command post, every activity for the night was totally not organized, and so the great spread was into the night. This is a critical point in my experience, because we could better organize, and it was not made. What happened? Two system overlapped one over the other. In the field, it was necessary to activate the command post. The command post by meeting Corpo Forestale and other regional forces with the firefighters and also police, carabinieri, and workers' crew. But when command post doesn't work, then we have experimented an overlapping of the major of the city of Laconi, and the coordination was totally made in the municipality, not in the field. In the other incident in Villaggio delle Mimose, I was here, and I participated directly to build a good command post, and things are worked very well. This is the kind of coordination that we built in Villaggio delle Mimose. We have meet official of Corpo Forestale, official of firefighters, local administration, carabinieri and police, and then we decided to divide for competency for sectors, flanks for protection of houses, and so on. We defined the priorities, and in a few number of hours we organized a correct, perfect fighting. So I have some minutes. Is needed to pass from actually the planning goes from a regional level to a owner level at micro scale. There are a lack of intermediate level that is characterized from an historical analysis of wildfires, from a recent analysis of wildfires, and then is characterized by the construction of wildfire regime, zone, homogeneous zone that are a typical wildfire behavior, and then identify critical point where operate some actions, concrete action of prevention. For example, we simulate some spread lines with the minimum travel time without the prevention action and with prevention action. Something like this, preventive silviculture in the mountain that we have no more. We have a land totally abandoned, and then we have not any possibility to apply safety zone to organize effective fight in the field. And also we have not today possibility to manage legally the prescribed burning. In the past we made many prescribed burning, but today there is a kind of ideological opposition also at political level to allow that Corpo Forestale could realize in all the territory of the island many action of prescribed burning. I hope that this will change in the next years. So planning must go to introducing to provincial and landscape level many analysis of fire propagation to avoid that the wildfire fight directly the urbanization and single houses. I hope that the situation will change like this, not how is now, but the two system, Augustus of civil protection and incident command, can meet and can dialogue in a operative and effective manner. Finally, I hope that the international system of wildland fires will focus new point of view as prevent and prepare society to extreme fire events, the challenge of seeing the forest and not just the trees, as said Fantina Tedim, Vittorio Leone, and Gabriel Xantopoulos in a good publication that speak about fire smart territory. This is the model that they present in the next project that are called Fire Extra, and I think this will be an important solution for our problems. Thank you for attention. I speak in English a little bit incorrectly, but I hope that you have shared my opinion.
Many thanks, Giuseppe. Many thanks. So I think that there are some questions. Okay, yes, there are some questions from David Caballero. Can you see it, Giuseppe?
Sí, I see.
I will. Okay, I will have to read the first one. So David said, "Dear Giuseppe, to me it's not clear whether your definition of forest fires includes also fires in the grasslands or even in agricultural lands in mosaic with shrubs and trees. In Spain, we have the Wildland-Urban Interface in such areas, and I see that you have them."
Oh, this is a legal definition, a political definition. Because the prevalence of the idea of civil protection was change the traditional knowledge about the forest fire that are a problem of people working in silviculture in forest field. When this law in 2000 appears, many things changed. Every wildfire potentially could spread in every situation, and so in this spread, more or less could involve some houses, some residences, some situations. So for that, every wildfire is defined a problem of civil protection. I don't know if I have understood what you demand me.
Okay, thank you, Giuseppe. We have two more questions also from David. David said, related with your slides, he said, we also have the same problem, intermixed areas of houses and trees that are officially classified as urban areas, while the fire can go through without problem. How do you describe and manage such intermixed areas?
Well, using the definition of the law, the fire into these houses is a forest wildfire, but in the organization of nowadays, we manage diversifying the kind of intervention. I mean, in all that is vegetal, forest, shrub, or grassland, we fight with Corpo Forestale, with workers of forestas and the volunteers. Into the house, the problem is of state wildfire. I mean, they are organized to manage difficulties into the houses, the gas containers, some materials that we are not organized to extinguish, and so on. So in the field, we have the possibility to differentiate the activity. The wildfire is one, the management is one, but for every kind of fire, we have the possibility to apply some specialized structure as the state wildfires.
Thank you, Giuseppe.
Okay.
There's another question from David also. So David said, Giuseppe, do you use special equipment or protocols to fight fire inside the Wildland-Urban Interface areas, such as intermix, that sometimes involve structural fires? Do you think about special equipment?
As I said before, for structural fires, there are simply the intervention of state firefighters. We are not organized to operate inside the WUI areas. We are in charge to follow the spread of wildfire to extinguish the total explosion of wildfire, but we have not special groups organized to extinguish into the intermix. This is a task in charge of state firefighters.
Okay, thank you, Giuseppe. There's another more question from Elsa Pastor. She asks, what are your thoughts about the stay and defend option in case of wild-urban interface fire?
Well, a good question. My thought is that normally it's better stay and defend than evacuate, because evacuation is a great problem, feeded by panic, by confusion, by difficulties to move for many people that are ill or so on. But situation of houses in the case that I have shown you is very difficult, because every backyard of every house is in danger. People use a kind of ideological point of view to live in the field. How can see, is a kind of a religion to live into the nature, and so they have many difficulties to remove some shrubs, some trees. In my opinion, we have many situations where stay and defend is difficult. It's very difficult.
Okay, thank you, Giuseppe. And the last question from my side. So, Giuseppe, what's the opinion, or maybe what's the perception of the population, and especially the perception from the owners about the problem of the wild-urban interface? I assume that in those areas that you've shown, most of the residents are tourists. So do you have a special program to socialize the risk, or to make them more aware against the risk of forest fire?
Well, I think that normally there are a low level of knowledge of risk. From a point of view, the idea of nature living is a strong idea that involved many lives that decided to abandon the city to live near the nature, and this is difficult to transform in an idea of perception of risk. Trees are good. Trees doesn't are a danger. And then when, for example, when many people came to me after the wildfire in Villaggio delle Mimose, I say that they have to remove many shrubs, many fuel near its houses. And they called me, but it's impossible that a forest man speaks about to remove vegetation from my house. They were here to request me other plants to plant, and this is very difficult. When I explicated that every shrub could originate flames of 5-7 meters of longitude, they doesn't believe in that. And so I have another problem, because they think that to protect its houses is a problem of the state. No, not a problem of the owner. And this is really a difficult concept to improve. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Giuseppe. So many thanks, Giuseppe, and I would like to say thank you also to all attendees. I think that there are no more questions. So many thanks to all attendees, and especially, as I said, to Giuseppe to make such effort to prepare this this presentation, this webinar. So just to close this webinar, we will upload the webinar as a video in the WUIWATCH YouTube channel. So many thanks, and we'll see in the next webinar, I hope in 1 month, more or less. So we will provide you more information about the WUIWATCH webinars program. So many thanks, and see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh yes, just a little remember from our coordinator, David. David said to me, he remembered to me that, of course, we will have a workshop, a general workshop of the final workshop, actually the final workshop of the WUIWATCH project in this December, 12 and 13 of this December in Barcelona. And the last workshop that we hold in France, in the South of France, it was a really big event. So just to close, please know that next December we'll hold the final WUIWATCH workshop. So many thanks, and we'll see again. Bye bye.
Ciao.